Happy Canada Day, everybody. This is Dre. Welcome to another episode of Quarter Notes. As you can see, wearing my red and white, representing Los Cabos Drumsticks, the number one drumstick manufacturer in Canada. Anyway, the episode, which is about to start, is with a great Canadian drummer by the name of Sammy Kohn. Now, if you were around in the 90s and you watched MuchMusic or listened to Canadian radio, the Watchmen were on there. They were all over the place. They were in that same echelon as Our Lady Peace and I Mother Earth, Tragically Hip. You can put them in that conversation with Canadian bands, especially at that time. They were nominated for a few Junos for some of their work. Sammy's a very humble individual, refers to himself as a timekeeper. A lot of drummers now are very chopsy for chop's sake, and he's not that guy. He'd rather just lay into a groove and just stick in that pocket. Guys like Steve Jordan, Phil Rudd, Charlie Watts, Sammy Kohn. We get into all kinds of really good stuff, his drum sizes, cymbals, drumsticks, all the nerdy stuff. But we get into some of the more in-depth stuff with, musical upbringing and all that. Anyway, it's a fantastic episode. Happy Canada Day. Enjoy the Quarter Notes with Sammy Kohn. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, well, I'm just toggling off my phone. That might be a little bit more stable, but if it's still not good, I know that there's nothing more frustrating. So you let me know, okay?
It's not for me, it's for everybody that's going to listen and watch. They don't want to miss
Yeah.
anything that you got to say.
Well, hopefully there'll be something worth repeating here. But
Oh, yeah.
tell me what we can talk about, and I'll talk your ear off about nothing.
Oh, well, it's exactly what I mean. It's kind of like Seinfeld that way. It's kind of the show about nothing.
Just ask me how I am, and I'll just keep going. I can I'll chat about anything you like me to chat about.
Yeah.
What kind of symbol do you have in the back there? Is that an actual symbol, or is that a like
Yeah.
a
This is it's a 22 AAX medium ride. It's
very nice
it's my backup ride.
22? I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. I usually right now I've been using a 21
Okay.
HHX groove ride.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. My buddy Randy over at the factory, he when he put my rig together, he was like, "You need a 21-inch groove ride," and I was like, "No, I need bigger. I need big." So I got that, and then about less than a year later, I'm like, "Yeah, Randy, you're right." So I went and got the groove ride.
Is it too loud, or is just too much?
No, I mean the groove ride, it kind of acts as like an extra crash a little bit, and
Hmm.
with my original band Six Gun Smoke, I do a lot of crash riding and stuff like that, and the groove ride has a really nice pingy bell, so it's there when I need it.
Right.
This one kind of overpowers a little bit, and if we're playing on like a smaller club, it just kind of takes over the rest of them, right? So it serves its purpose in the studio. So
Yeah, it looks good. The
yeah,
front, make the front of house guy miserable by a loud cymbal for sure. But yeah, I have been using Sabians forever as well. I like them. I've been noticing that as I get older, I find that I like the thinner cymbals too, because I think I hit less hard.
mhm,
And there was a time when I felt like I just needed to really clock the cymbals, and it took me a long time to realize that the responsiveness is not better if you hit them hard. So
mhm.
I think it was just a few years ago I was using some backline, and I was disappointed because all the cymbals were like thin cymbals, but I just thought I'm like, this is incredible. Just the quick response that I had just grown accustomed to not having. It was anyway, it was very cool, but I like Sabians as well. I've been using them forever.
Yeah. Do you find like I know as I've seen some stage shots where like you kind of have those shields in front of the cymbals. Without those, you're kind of interfering with your in-ear mix. Do you find you get a lot of cymbal bleed in your in-ears or the
Are you
rest of the
saying
guys?
you're asking if I use
Yeah, the
uh
shields.
never I've never used shields. Never.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're talking about like a plexiglass kind of
Yeah.
like monitor. Yeah. No, I mean we've gone through sort of different iterations of of volume on stage that is typically very loud for us, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I find that if I don't have a good monitor mix, because I don't use in-ears. I like to really feel things, and I also play with a click track, but that's a different story. Um, I will overplay, and I won't be able to sort of execute and sort of do a lot of the finesse things that I like to play. I'm just kind of like bashing. Um, so, but we have done a little baffling over the years, maybe a little bit less of this, less than that. But yeah, it's I haven't gotten that technical to date as far as the plexiglass is concerned.
Um, how are you getting your click if you're not using in-ears?
It's a very crude setup, but it's one that I've grown accustomed to. I've got on my phone, I've got some click track apps that I've used, and I have a set list that I write out, or that I have all of our songs sort of programmed into the metronome. And if it's a song that I don't start, the guys know that I'll be counting it in. And if it's what I start, I'll be counting it in. And I kind of mess with it throughout the night. Certain songs I play the whole song with the click. Some I use just a reference to start the song. Some I'll stop halfway through if I know that we're going to move into sort of an improvised territory. But it's really, really improved my playing. I've been doing it now for about 6 or 7 years. And I always was always sort of at the whim of my energy and other people's adrenaline, and this guy's speeding me up or this guy's dragging, whatever. Um, it just anchors me even more so to the original tempos of the songs. So it's not subject to, like I said, energy and adrenaline, that sort of thing. So, and I don't even listen to it anymore. And I find it hard to play without a click now. I've grown so accustomed to using the metronome for certain songs that I miss it. But yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I've been sort of starting to use it more now myself. Like I got recently, especially since I got the Yamaha EAD 10. I know they got the
Mm,
big fancy 50 out there, but I got the EAD 10 and I find like because it has like the built-in metronome in that. So I'll use that as the room mix. So I'll have
okay.
the ears in so I can control the click and nobody else hears it and I get the full room for rehearsal. So it's really a great practice tool that way.
I'm gonna write that down, Andre. What's that called? The E
It's
what?
the Yamaha EAD 10. It stands
Yeah.
for electric acoustic drum, and
And is
it's
what is it exactly? Is it a piece of hardware, or is it?
it's a it's a mic slash trigger that hooks onto your bass drum hoop,
Oh, okay,
and then
okay,
that goes into and what it is the bottom half of it is a trigger, so it catches the kick trigger, and then the top of it is like cross microphone, so it catches the
okay,
room, so it catches
okay.
like your snare and your cymbals and everything. Um, it's sort of like that whole like two microphone setup that they used to use back in the day.
Glenn Johns.
Yeah, exactly. So that gets
Yeah.
fed into the module itself. Now there's lots of effects and stuff that you can, put add reverb and like different settings or whatever. Um, but if you just have it like a clean reverb, just have a little bit of a, whatever. And then it goes, you have your in-ears hooked up to
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
So then you hear everything that the drum module is capturing. But because it's a room mic, like we use it for rehearsal now with my band, and it picks up
Hmm.
the amps and the PA and everything. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, sounds great.
Uh, but even like in a live setting, because it can also go out to front of house, so you can use it, for small venues, small clubs. You can use it instead of miking everything. You can just use it for even just the trigger, just to have more kick, kind of
Hmm.
thing. Um,
Yeah, sounds great.
yeah, it's a great little tool, and it has a wrecking. This is turning into a Yamaha advertisement,
Very,
but
very geeky here. You
yeah,
might have
yeah,
lost anybody who really cares at this point. About
yeah,
we're deep into
um,
the weeds with gear.
yeah. But it has a wreck and share app, so it hooks up to your iPhone or Samsung is supported now, and you can load songs onto it, so you can play along with the track. and it has separation so you can remove the drums from the track and
You know
practice to the
what?
songs.
I know what I see a
Yeah,
lot of colleagues, old friends, people online doing that. I
yeah,
think I might have that. I've got what you're describing, something along those lines on my phone where
hmm
because so many people who I follow, they'll play along to, Georgie Porgy or something,
yeah, yeah. Drum covers.
Rosanna.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I love those drumless tracks that you
hmm
see on YouTube too. When I want to practice, I'm so horrible with practice. I always have been. I hate practicing. I mean, when I was a kid, I was into it, but my colleagues in my band will tell you that I'm the first one to say, "Whoa, it's been 20 minutes. I gotta go." But when I do want to get my chops together before some shows or before we get together as a band, I'll load up the drumless tracks on YouTube and play along to Kashmir or
yeah,
something, and
yeah,
love it. So much
yeah,
fun. But yeah,
yeah,
I know what you're talking about people who record those and share
yeah.
them.
So you can record with it, or you can have no backing track and just have a metronome in your ears, and then just
Yes,
record yourself playing to nothing. And then
right.
when you listen to the playback, obviously the metronome won't be there, so you can hear if you're naturally dragging or playing
Yeah,
ahead or all that
yeah,
kind of stuff. So it's really great for
yeah.
that. Um, but and a trick that I learned, and I really need to get back to doing it, from Rich Knox when he posted on his Instagram where he was playing along to one of the Danko Jones songs, and rather than having a metronome, he was doing his rudiments along to a song. So he's playing singles, then doubles, then paradiddles, and then going back and forth through the song. Like say like the
Yeah,
verse he'd be doing singles, chorus he'd
right.
be doing doubles, and then through a bridge he'd do a paradiddle, and then go back to the like so it's switching back and forth.
That's smart. That's
So
very
instead of
smart.
just playing along to that, that boring old metronome, right? It gives you
Yeah.
something to kind of play around
Yeah,
with.
that's
Yeah,
genius.
yeah,
Yeah, especially it would just seem so easy if he went back and just played along to the song after
yeah,
playing rudiments at a specific tempo. Because I know that for him specifically, because I'm a fan, uh, he just does like a kick snare hat and maybe a floor tom,
yeah,
um, just to avoid any temptation with timekeeping,
yeah,
which is very smart. I don't know if I could handle that, but
yeah,
and I'm a very, very meat and potatoes, less is more kind of drummer. But yeah, that's a smart idea. Just play through with rudiments. I've heard of some people. I've done this too, where you play with bigger sticks. I warm up when I'm sort of backstage, or at my hotel or whatever. I've got in my stick bag. I've got some heavier sticks that I use, even one size up sort of thing that just kind of
yeah,
gives me a little bit of an edge by the time I hit the stage.
yeah. What I was gonna save all the nerdy gear stuff till later on. I was gonna kind of try and get to
You
know,
control the flow, my friend.
well,
Andre, you're the man.
but we're here already, so we might as well just keep going. Um,
Hmm.
so when you're talking about sticks, like what is in your stick bag? Like what sizes, like what brands, woods, like because it's an extension of yourself when you're playing, so you have to be comfortable with it. I kind
Yeah,
of veer like I'm with Los Cabos. I've been with them for a number of years, so I have a
yeah,
couple of sticks that I use for certain projects. Do you
sure.
find you do that as well? Like have certain sticks for certain things or even songs?
Well, I certainly have different sticks for certain songs. I mean, the truth is, I don't play really with anybody other than the Watchmen. I mean, I'm a full-time real estate agent and have been for many years here in Toronto. The Watchmen are certainly a going concern. We play 6 to 10 shows a year, high-profile shows. So the gear has to be in good working order, and I stay on top of all that. But I'm not really, really into the weeds as far as some of the stuff you're talking about, specifically with other projects. Do I pull out the Jazz 7As or whatever?
Yeah,
With the Watchmen, I've been using the Los Cabos sticks usually at the hotel when I'm warming up, and I find that they're just indestructible. However, whatever they put into the recipe of making those sticks, they last longer than pretty much anything else I've ever used. Sometimes I've got nylon tips. I like a lot of people think that's sort of blasphemy on the cymbals, but I like that little kind of extra clarity.
that's what
And
they're
then
designed
there's
for.
Yeah, exactly. Because I on my ride, I'll use the edge of the tip of the stick, and then usually with the hats, it's sometimes there's moments when I'm doing some sort of like some roughs and things with the tips, and then other times I'm just using the edges of the stick. And then there's also sort of portions of the evening where I'll pull out some blast sticks or some brushes for some quieter songs, and then I also have a pair of mallets I use just for some big sort of uh, dynamic crescendos. But I'd say 90% of the sticks in the stick bag are 5As, nylon tip.
Nylon tip.
Yeah,
Like not the extra half inch, just the standard 5A.
standard. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I used to use the extreme 5Bs, the ones that are like a half inch longer. And Rich was kind of teasing me about because he I used 5B or I used extreme 5Bs or 5B and 10s, I should say, and he was using regular 5Bs, and and then I one day I placed an order and I said, so throw some regular 5B red hickory in the thing or whatever. And then I got to
Mhm.
using them, and then I just sort of slowly got the longer sticks out of the bag, and I've
Mm.
been using the 5B straight up. I used to use the rock. That's what's over there is the big rock sticks. Like they're almost 17 inches and they're like cannons. But after a while, like you just your arms don't move anymore. Like especially if you're playing fat, like because fast punk beats and like the faster punk rock tempos that I play in my original band. 3 songs
No,
in,
you
and
can't.
your wrists
Yeah,
are just blown out, and you're fear of dropping a stick because you don't have any grip strength anymore. Like
yeah. These are the drummer's problems, fear of dropping a stick for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, it's funny, we get used to certain things. I think drummers generally I found are very sort of superstitious with how their gear gets set up, very particular. I'm no stranger to that. I will sort of finesse my setup up until the time we're on stage, just with angles and heights and such. Um, and certainly with sticks, but there's habits you get into as well that, for better or for worse, it's not always a great thing. I kind of it's a good segue to a story. Um, I use AOT drums. I've got a beautiful my sort of first string kit that I use. I use for the most part I use backline rental gear when I'm traveling with the band. But if I'm playing locally or if we're touring in Ontario, I'll use my AOTs, which that were made by Ray Ayotte back in the 90s when it was an official company before things kind of went south. But point being, further to what I was saying about habits, I had a pearl piccolo snare that I used for probably 3 or 4 years. This was in the mid 90s, early 90s, and I swore this was my lifer snare. It's very short-sighted when I think about it now, piccolo, so limited. But I remember going to the AOT factory, and Ray asked me about what snare are you using, and the band was playing at the Commodore Ballroom that night. We were playing 2 nights at the Commodore, and he said, what are you using?" And I'm like, "Well, I've got this great piccolo," and he kind of chuckled, and just said, "Try this," and he gave me an AOT snare, and it's I don't even know what kind of wood it is. I'm really not that technical, but it's got about 5 inches of thickness in terms of the wood inside the drum itself. Um, and he just said, "You know what? I mean, no obligation. Just try it tonight. See what you think. Try it at the sound check." He knew what he was doing. I mean, one song in, I'm like, "What the hell have I been doing for the past 5 years with this Pearl Piccolo?" And anyway, it is my snare, my first string snare that I've used ever since. The thing costs probably more than my drum kit in
yeah,
total. But it is an absolute thing of beauty. Uh, but I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not good to get into those ruts and those habits because there's so many different ways to sort of uh, look at this thing we do as far as being a drummer is concerned. And he opened my eyes, I remember that day, to something very, very different. And it changed a lot. So don't be too rigid, I guess, is the lesson there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and with drums, especially drum gear, like drum heads, drum sizes like that. I swore I'd never use a 10-inch tom, and I still haven't. But might come a day where I will. you
Mm.
know, because like certain
I
sizes are just sort of integral to your sound. Like you can't get
I'm
the
I
same.
yeah, I'm
You know,
contradicting myself, but I really I'm particular about sizes for sure. I mean, if I have on our sort of technical rider, there's sizes, and I'll be very disappointed if certain, like if it's a power tom or something, where I can't set up the way I want to set up, it'll ruin my night.
yeah,
Which sounds a little dramatic, but it's true. And I also there's certain types of skins I like. When we were recording early on, I remember we had a producer who said you need to put coated ambassadors on the top and on the bottom if you're recording. And I'm like, well, why? I've got these and these. But he was absolutely right. And I've never had anything but that on my kit. So I am again sort of contradicting myself, but there's certain things, sort of basics, some table stakes that every drummer sort of wants for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And like for myself, like where we kind of play with multiple bands each night. Like there's usually three or four bands in the lineup, so somebody's always providing backline. So usually, whatever the local band or the headliner will provide the backline, and we'll all use whatever. And
Mm,
a lot of those backline kits are very disappointing, particularly with hardware, like cymbal stands
yeah,
that are, they're missing wing nuts, or there's no felt, there's no what's the
I
plastic
know what
thing
you're
that,
talking about.
you know what I mean? Like there's just so many intangibles for drummers when you're setting up that,
Yeah,
the other band members don't. I mean, guitarists are chasing the tone, and they're chasing, their pedal board or what type of amp, and their guitar, but usually they show up with their gear, because they
yeah,
can throw
yeah,
an amp on the stage and take it off.
yeah.
But the drummer, you're kind of stuck with, okay, well, I'm going to bring my snare drum and my kick pedal. I know that, and my cymbals, but everything else is just sort of caution to the wind, like,
And you really nailed it when you said without a little washer on the cymbal where it's metal on metal. Can't
yeah,
I've said to so many people who are providing the backline, I'll say, do you realize that every time I hit this cymbal, it's going to grind against this cymbal stand because you don't have a little piece of plastic? And they look at me like, what the hell are you talking about? Um, it's something so small, but it's yeah, it's drummers are a weird bunch, and
yeah.
I'm no stranger.
I have a little first aid kit that I keep in my little backpack that I bring with me, and it's got felts, it's got those little Gibraltar sleeves or whatever that can
Yeah,
go on to pretty much any cymbal stand.
yeah,
A
yeah,
couple of wing nuts, uh, you know, extra lugs just in case a lug falls off, or just
yeah, yeah.
little things like that. And I don't know how many times I may not have myself have had to use it, but I've had other drummers come to me with like, "Oh man, I don't have this or I forgot that," and it's like, well, there you go.
There you
You know,
go. Got my first aid kit. So do you
yeah,
play? You say you play with a fast punk rock band?
yeah. I have been two projects. My original band is called Six Gun Smoke.
Okay.
Are based out of Miramichi, New Brunswick, and have a side project that where me and the singer from that band are called Dad Bod, which is
Okay.
it's not just a
Good
clever
name.
name.
Yeah.
um, and we do kind of like more rock, kind of punk versions of known songs, but it's closer to rock than it is punk rock, like because we don't want to just go out there and melt faces,
Right.
and make it different than the original band. But it's a lot of fun. So those are
And
the two.
is Six Gun Smoke on Spotify?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We just put out our second album last July.
Okay, I'll
Um,
check it out.
yeah, our first one was nominated for an ECMA for Loud
Nice.
Recording of the Year. Yeah, so we
Oh,
went to
right,
the
you're out
ECMAs, and
east. Sorry,
yeah,
sorry, Andre. You're
yeah,
you're yeah, got it.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
got it.
yeah. So we did the
It's
rounds for that.
I'll have to check it out. Do you follow Joey Castillo from the Circle Jerks on Instagram by any chance?
He's the goat.
Yeah,
He's my all-time favorite.
he is the best punk rock drummer living right now. He's
Absolutely.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
He is unbelievable. I just can't believe that I saw them live in Toronto. It's probably 4 or 5 years ago now, maybe less. I don't know. It was in a little club, but he just you want to talk about melting faces. He does not miss a beat. Um, he uses those little thin little cymbal stands, no boom stands, just
Yep.
like a very basic setup. So
26-inch kick.
fast. Is that what that is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
a
makes sense.
26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm glad you can appreciate how great he is. It's so difficult to play at that speed with that consistency without missing a beat. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
great. He's really, really good.
Yeah. They were here. They came to Moncton, which is about an hour and a half from where I am, when NoFX was doing their last Canadian date.
Okay,
They did 2 nights, and the Circle Jerks opened for them both nights. So I was
cool.
like right front, like I was against the barricade. Like, yeah, I
Yeah,
couldn't not watch Joey Castillo.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. He's
yeah,
great. I know he's the best. Um, Yeah, I do love a lot of those old punk rock guys like Bill Stevenson, I think is great too. And because I'm just so enamored with that speed and that quality of playing at that speed. My playing is sort of the opposite of that. So yeah, it's very impressive. It's kind of a mystery. I know that he was with Queens of the Stone Age for a while. I never understood why he was kind of unceremoniously dumped from that band. You never know. Bands are a funny thing, but
yeah. Who
getting rid of
knows?
that guy.
Yeah,
Um,
that's. I followed Queens. I mean, I was a big Dave Grohl nerd when I was growing up. I mean, I think a lot of us were. Um, and when he kind of played with Queens on that Songs for the Deaf album, that's when I got
right.
introduced to them. And I thought they were a good band, and Dave's drumming on that album was, fantastic. But then when Joey stepped in, I was like, whoa, like this is a whole new level. Like that's to me, that's the best lineup that Queen's ever had was when Joey
Yeah.
was in the band. No shade to John Theodore because he's a monster. I saw them when they came to the Avenir Center as well. And John Theodore is just a phenomenally gifted individual.
Yeah.
But as far as the vibe and the sound for Queens, to me, it was Joey Castillo that brought that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
I saw Theodore too. When I saw them Queens live, it was with that guy.
Mhm.
But who is also, yeah, fantastic. They certainly have a style of drummers they like to work with.
Yeah.
Uh, so what happened to Joey? Do you know the story?
Um, Not really. I mean, I heard there's lots of rumors. I think when because Josh had a near death experience, and then when he came back, because there was a long layoff, and then when he came back, he wanted to take the band in a different direction completely. And I think it was just the old creative differences kind of thing.
Mm.
And I think the touring schedule, I think that Queens had at the time might have played a factor too. But
Mm.
again, I mean, Joey's probably busier now than he was when he was with them. Like
Yeah.
because he plays with the Bronx, he plays with the Circle Jerks. He's got a side project with Tim Armstrong. He's
No,
just
I didn't know that.
constantly, yeah, yeah. And he filled
Yeah, I
in for
know
the
the
Hives.
I know. Oh, is that right? I love
Yeah,
those
he did
guys.
a tour for the Hives. Yeah,
I know the Bronx too. That's
they have
cool.
talk about a band that have had amazing drummers. The Bronx, their drumming throughout their whole catalog is just insane. Jorma Vic was awesome. Then they had Dave Hidalgo, who's with Social Distortion.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
and then Joey, and then they had like Adam Willard fill in, and then had a couple other guys. So yeah,
I'll have to
my
check it
nerd is
out.
showing.
Yeah, no, it's just great playing, great chops. So the guy who is in Social Distortion now was in the Bronx, you're saying?
Yeah, he still fills in every now and again. I think he
Okay,
played a show with them a couple months back. Yeah,
very cool,
and
very
that new
cool.
Social Distortion album is phenomenal. If you haven't heard it
I've
yet,
heard bits of it. I've heard
yeah,
bits
yeah,
of it. Yeah, I am a fan for sure.
yeah.
Um, yeah, they're a good band.
So punk rock, like how, like you have roots in listening to punk rock, like when you were growing up, like as far as like I know you're from Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Um, did you come from a house that had a lot of music going on? Siblings that also play instruments or anything like that?
I didn't have siblings that played. I have an older sister. She didn't play an instrument. Well, she played piano, come to think of it. I come from a very musical family for sure. My parents would go to New York and go see musicals. They'd go see Broadway and go for a week and they'd see one every night. And they'd come back with seven different soundtracks to the Broadway
Wow.
productions they saw. So that was always sort of filled the house, great music all the time. When I was very young, I wanted to play drums. I knew it was something I instinctively loved. Um, but my parents, I've told this story before, and maybe I'm not exactly remembering what happened, but I think the essence of what I felt was happening at the time was my parents didn't feel like drumming was legitimate. And it was they encouraged me to take guitar lessons. You need an instrument where there's notes and there's theory, and so I took guitar lessons, and looking back, I know that it was a chore to rehearse and practice and learn that instrument. It felt like it was, I'm not saying it wasn't punishment, but it certainly wasn't something I was passionate about. But cut to drumming, when I finally was able to convince my parents that I wanted a drum kit, it was the opposite. It was like, keep it down, stop playing. It was just like I wouldn't stop. So
Mhm.
that was clearly an indicator of something that was very, very special. And that happened when I was 12, 13 years old. And I've been playing consistently ever since.
Yeah. Did you take formal lessons or anything like that, or?
I did. I
Yeah.
did. Yeah. I think that was part of the deal. Again, my parents wanted me to take formal lessons, and I, I, I I had a few teachers over the years. I mean, I do feel like for the most part, I was sort of self-taught with the players that I enjoyed and the music I listened to. And there was one guy in particular who spoke to me as far as the things that he was teaching me. It was not so much about quarter notes and eighths and sixteenths. There was a bit of that, but we would talk for a lot of the lesson about just what it means to be a timekeeper. And he talked to me about tuning. And I remember um, I was trying to set up like Stuart Copeland at the time,
Right.
uh, because when you're young, you try to set up like your heroes. This is to show you, this is how naive and how much I didn't know. Uh, I said to him, his name was Jim. I was like, Jim, I flatten my toms like Stuart, and they look cool, but I can't reach them. Now they're flat, and I keep sort of hitting rims. And he said, I'm going to show you a trick. I'm like, okay, I'm all ears. This is how you raise your throne. This is how you
Yeah.
lift up your throne so you can, and I'm like, wow, you can raise your throne. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that he was, I guess, teaching me. But he was great. And I remember I hadn't talked to the guy in many, many years. And somehow, I think he found me on Facebook or vice versa or something. And I had a coffee with him about 10 years ago. And I told him how much his teaching meant to me. Uh, one more quick story about him. It's not really a story, but I was very intimidated because he was a very well-known player in the city, and I was never able to sort of unleash and just sort of show him what I could do, even though I felt like I kind of knew what I was doing to a certain extent. And I remember one day he walked into my basement practice suite, and he'd been standing outside of my house, my parents' house at the time, and sort of listening to me through the basement for about 5 minutes while I just kind of did my thing. And he said, "You're fantastic. You're amazing. I'm like, how did you hear me? I haven't played I haven't for 2 months here. I haven't done anything." He said, "Well, I just listened to you. I just." He sort of snuck up on me, so I thought it was very sort of cute. And
Yeah.
yeah, but he was great. He was great. So yeah, a little bit of formal lessons, but more like playing along, listening to, certain albums, and playing along to those records, Cheap Trick, Beatles, Kiss, all the kind of, staples of, a
Yeah.
kid who grew up in the mid 70s.
Yeah. Yeah. And did you like for when did you sort of make the decision to take just playing for yourself and start playing with other people? Like I know you're related to Daniel, right, in the Watchmen.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, was the Watchmen like your first band, or did you have other sort of bands that you sort of woodshedded before you getting into that spot?
Yeah, you know what? Joey, Danny, and myself. Joey's the guitarist in the Watchmen. I quite literally grew up with those guys. I've known them since I was single digits, grade school. Joey and I often remark, and this is the truth, that we kind of bought our first instruments around the same time. Young teenagers, 13 years old, 12, 13 years old. The week I got my drum kit is the same time he got his first guitar. And Danny always had sort of a musical aptitude, playing piano and singing and being sort of more of an artistic kind of guy. Yeah, I mean, the first guys that I really started playing seriously with were those two guys, which is unbelievable when you stop and think
Yeah.
about it. We've been playing together for over 40 years. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And back then it was just we would play, kind of the weddings and bar mitzvahs sort of thing, but we tried to sort of dig a little deeper. We weren't just playing um, uh, the typical fare. We were playing Joe Jackson songs and the Cars and XTC. We wrote there was some original music kind of kicking around. I was like 14 years old, um, and uh, even back then, there was a little bit of chemistry happening. Certainly with Joey and Danny, it's something I've always recognized. Those two together, I think they have a very just a good chemistry, singer guitarist sort of chemistry, and then I'm a part of that as well. So yeah, the roots go really, really deep with those two guys.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned like 14 years old because that's when me and Jack, the singer, guitar player, primary songwriter for Six Gun Smoke, and in Dad Bod, we met when we were about 14 and just through mutual friend. The guy that I was playing in a band with, he was playing bass. He had met Jack, I think skateboarding or something, and they kind of, hey, you skateboard or you like this kind of band, like come to my buddy Andre's house and
Mm,
we'll jam. And
hmm.
he and I have been in bands pretty much ever since that day. Like it's just been
Yeah, yeah.
constant,
You met
different
a kindred
projects.
spirit, big
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's the best bands are the ones that have known each other forever.
yeah,
You can trace that back to the Beatles and the Stones and newer bands like Radiohead, Arctic Monkeys. I can go on and on and on.
hmm
To form a band when you're already sort of um, established and where you piece together sort of like more of like a Counting Crows kind of thing where it's a bunch of very
studio musicians
talented.
that yeah,
Yeah, I mean that
yeah,
that has its place and that's cool. But there's something different when it's a group of people that have been together. I mean, believe me, it's not easy.
no,
Uh, and we've had definitely some major ups and downs, and it's a work in progress all the time to properly sort of communicate and hopefully um, learn a few things along the way about coexisting and working together and communicating and trusting each other and
it's a full
but
on relationship with however many people are in the band. Like each relationship is its own relationship,
yeah,
let alone
yeah.
having four or five or however many people are in the band to all come together. Like that's so difficult to manage over that amount of time. Like the fact that you guys still play together is, I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, it is pretty incredible. I mean, there's an appetite for nostalgia,
Mhm.
uh, and certainly 90s bands. I think most bands that were able to enjoy what was a real heyday with Much Music and
Oh, miss
pre-Napster.
I miss
Uh,
those days so much.
yeah, I mean there was an actual music industry. I mean,
Yeah,
we sold records. People went down and paid $20 for our CD, and I think um, that provided the foundation for what we're doing now, as far as a lot of people who probably go to two or three shows a year, who have families and jobs and what have you, but they still have that sort of taste for what things were like when they were probably in university.
yeah.
We had done enough legwork and hard work, and sort of built things up kind of brick by brick back then that we're still kind of enjoying the fruits of those labors now.
Yeah.
which is, yeah, it's there, we don't have, I've said this before, we don't have we don't really have casual fans. People who listen to the band love the Watchmen. I've have people coming up to me saying they've seen us 30 times, 40 times, and I think they're crazy. But and it just pushes us to try to keep things fresh a little bit, which is always, that's another challenge that's hard to do with, 4 or 5 albums, whatever it is. So anyway, yeah, it's not something I take for granted for sure.
Yeah. Like I know you like clearly you're a busy real estate agent in the GTA, and the rest of the guys have their own things, but do you guys have any plans or desire to write new material?
Yes, we do. The short answer is yes. I mean,
Yeah.
we just did a run of 3 shows, which was a bit of an anomaly. It's usually one-offs. And last March, we played in Oshawa, Kitchener, and Ottawa, which for us was like essentially a tour. And by the time we'd hit sound check in Ottawa, we were like the muscle memory of sort of being on tour was right there, and my chops were on fire. We were starting to already get into sort of noodling around at sound check with some new ideas because that's something we used to do years ago. I think we always we the pattern is that we have this sort of grand plan to get together and work on new stuff together and apart. And it seems real, and I think it's sort of genuine when we're together. But lo and behold, whenever we kind of go our separate ways, we splinter off, and
Yeah.
life happens. And um, that's just my experience. I can't speak for the other guys. I think a few of the other guys are probably a little bit more day-to-day music stuff. But I do know that I just got a text from Joey, the guitarist, the other day, sent a group text saying he's tracking some guitars on this new song that I put some bed tracks on. It's probably been about 3 months now. I mean, I'm joking. I joke that it's like our Chinese democracy without the hype. We've got we've got
It'll turn out better.
several, well, we've got a few ideas sort of kicking around. I definitely think this year, I don't want to overpromise, but I think people are definitely going to see at least 1 or 2 new songs, because one of them's almost there, like sort of close to like mixing at this point. And there's a few other ones that are written that we just have to get down on tape.
Yeah. Are you guys gonna self-produce, self-engineer all that?
Well, yes, I've put it out there that my preference is that we get an external person to mix the recording, because I don't know how objective we can be.
Yeah, mixing is
We
tricky. Yeah.
I think we suffer a little bit from kind of decisions by committee can sort of like water things down. Sometimes it's difficult for anything to happen because everybody sort of weighs in, and we all just sort of say, you know what, I can't wrestle over every crumbling decision here, I don't want a part of this anymore, sort of thing. So in an effort to sort of circumvent that, my preference is once it's on tape, then we get an external mixer to do that. And yeah, so haven't tabled that yet. I've sort of hinted that I think it's a good idea, but I have to deal with it with kid gloves to make sure that it's something taken seriously. I'm getting into some real psychology, bullshit band stuff here, Andre, but
Hey,
uh,
I
yes,
understand it completely.
it is.
We
Yeah, you get
self-produce.
it.
Well, we have I guess he'd be considered the fourth member of the band is Sean's nephew James. Sean McLafferty plays bass
Yeah,
in the band, and his nephew James is he went education in engineering, audio engineering. So he recorded and mixed and produced our and engineered our 2 albums. So it's definitely good to have that fourth person. For us it'd be the fourth
100%.
person, but to have that outside, because there's certain things that we don't hear, that they'll come in and hear and they'll add something. Because I know he sent us a bunch of test mixes, the first batch, and we're like, yep, sounds great, we're on the right track. And then the next batch he had added some backup vocals into one of the songs that we didn't have any, and now we can't hear it without it. And it was just
Mm.
he just kind of threw it on there, like,
Look,
yeah,
I get that. I know the kind of bag of tricks that these other three guys have when it comes to composition and arrangement. And I want to be the dumbest guy in the room when it comes to being in the studio and learning about mixing music. And um, I'm not going to claim to have a ton of experience. I've recorded in professional studios and been in studios lots, but I know that we would definitely benefit by some external ears where there's no sort of agenda as far as maybe some of the personalities and whatever. So yeah, it's really important for sure.
And I'm assuming it would be digital release. If just one or two songs, it's kind of hard to have a physical, especially nowadays, like compared to
Yeah,
prior
yeah.
to.
I mean, I I've been sort of the keeper of the archives over the years, and we have had two pretty significant reissues that we've put out of two records we've done, and that was primarily archival material that I had collected over the years. These, super deluxe issues.
Yeah,
One of them is old enough. It was our second album, an album called In the Trees. We had like a sort of a companion disc, and there was a physical copy of that. CDs shows you how old that one was. It's probably over 10 or 12 years ago now. And then we reissued the band's album Silent Radar, and that was filled with multiple versions and different mixes. But yeah, that was digital only. I sort of had the conversation with some people at our former record label who we still have a bit of a relationship with. It's just not cost effective for them to
yeah,
print vinyl. That would have been that product specifically would have been like a box set because it had like 50 tracks on it. And there's just no way that a label's gonna put that money out front for us.
no, not now where physical media is. I mean, there are record collectors, so there are still people that do it, but just as far as the masses, that it just doesn't make sense. Like, because we wanted to press our albums on vinyl as well, and just the cost return on it is just not feasible. It's expensive,
No, it's
you
and
know.
then not to mention from what I hear, you deliver it on in April and you get it next April or something. It's just there's a real backlog
Yeah,
to press vinyl. So
yeah, hard to build
yeah,
a timeline for media or for press or anything like that.
yeah. So we're gonna kind of just like go in a completely different direction, and I I think it'll be just a kind of a Spotify website sort of thing,
Yeah,
which is fine. Just the idea of just sort of not just having this thing we do be pure nostalgia is, I think, very appealing to all of us.
yeah. Um, so getting into some of the tracks, for me, one of my favorite songs from the Watchmen was "Any Day Now." Um, just a great track, and I noticed like in your playing specifically, you don't deviate from the hi hat in that song. Like there's moments where it's closed, it's open. You know,
Right.
there's obviously there's crashes for accents and stuff, but you're very hi hat centric in a lot of your playing. Is that sort
Mm.
of like speak to the voices that you kind of seek when you're putting drum tracks together?
All instinct. I'm a very, very stripped down drummer. My heroes are Charlie, Ringo, Steve Jordan, Bunny Carlos, just timekeeping masters, groove. Um, and I learned long ago. It's a trick that Ringo does in many Beatles songs, and it's also something that the name's escaping me. The guy from CCR, what the hell's his name again? Uh, he'll just tighten the hats for a bridge or something. Just move from a washy, noisy, and then
Yeah,
just Charlie does that too. So it's a very powerful dynamic tool, and I do it all the time. I don't sort of really methodically think of it, but I use that trick a lot. I
Yeah.
don't use a lot of ride. I remember when we were recording the band's first album, the producer, he didn't even let me use my ride.
Oh,
I
really?
see him from time to time or speak to him, and I tease him. He had his very rigid sort of approach, and he hated the ride cymbal. He's like, he loved John Bonham, so did I. He's like, "You ever heard Bonham use a ride cymbal?" I'm like,
Yeah.
Stairway to Heaven, maybe, How about Stairways? Well,
Moby
besides
Dick.
Stairway, um,
That
well, he
Moby
would
Dick is all
crash on
ride,
his.
you know.
I think he had a crash ride, maybe.
Yeah.
But I got the point,
Yeah. And Phil Rudd's another one, you know.
yeah, Phil
Yeah.
doesn't own a ride. He doesn't own a
Yeah.
ride. He doesn't, yeah, there's no way. Um, but that's a perfect example is Phil Rudd for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's how I, long ago I realized that the kind of players that I really respond to are guys like Bonham and like I said, Steve Jordan. And I mean, as much as I love Neil Peart is, of course, he's the professor. He's incredible. But I mean, if you listen to him playing Tom Sawyer 30 years ago on a Rush Live album, uh, and you listen to maybe one that he recorded 10 years ago, it'll be the same thing. It'll be exactly the same thing. To down to the splash cymbal, which is there's no question that is unbelievable to do that. I have the discipline to do that. But it's not as interesting to me as like a Bono. If you listen to Song Remains the Same, he's just like feeling it and
Yeah.
going nuts. And he never played the same thing twice. And sometimes he'd make little fluffs, whatever. Stuart Copeland used to say, I've quoted this before, if you're not making a few mistakes, you're not trying hard enough. You're not working hard enough.
Yeah.
And I should caveat, I would never want to, I'm not going to say anything negative about Neil, but it's not what I responded to.
Yeah.
Uh, and so, yeah,
I
that's a
forget where
big
I
thing.
I forget where I heard it, but somebody asked him about his in-ear monitor mix and like what he had in it, like as far as like Getty and Alex and whatever. And
Mm.
he's like, nope, just drums.
Yeah, I believe that. He didn't need them there. I mean, it's not what I enjoy out of keeping time, which is I keep coming back to the word, which is groove. If you listen
Yeah.
to Steve Jordan, there's this clip that's sort of it's been circulating for a while. Maybe it's just me because of my algorithm and my habits online, but it's just him with a kick and a snare. Have you seen this, Andre? He's just
Yeah.
keeping time.
Yeah.
He's
The
just
whole
and
way.
you know it's him
Yeah.
from his traditional uh, stick methods. You could tell it's him by the way he hits his snare, which is to me
Yeah.
that in itself is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Um, but his whole approach and what he's trying to communicate with that video is learn this first, get
Yeah.
people moving and bouncing and uh, um, feeling this music by kick, snare, hat, and it's an unbelievable video. And that is just that's my kind of MO. My bandmates will often suggest that I busy it up a little bit. We are in the studio together a few months ago. They're like, "Can you play more, play some fills during this?" I don't want to stray from the kind of the that sort of uh, trance-like groove I'm playing.
Yeah.
That's my
Because
favorite thing.
as soon as you break it, it takes you out of the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
totally get it. Yeah,
yeah.
Steve Jordan's a master at that. Nate Smith is another one.
Nate Smith is who again? Sorry,
Nate Smith, he's with the Fearless Flyers.
I don't know him.
You got to check him out.
Nate Smith. Okay, I
Yeah,
will.
there's
I
some
mean,
videos of him doing a kick, hat, and snare solo thing where he's just fluttering on the kick drum and then snapping the snare and then going back into a groove. It's really incredible to watch.
I'll write it down.
Yeah,
And also Clyde Stubblefield too.
yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah,
he's
Funkmaster.
yeah, just you look at those old clips, he's playing that little baby Vox kit, uh, no mics,
Yeah,
for anywhere, and you can hear the ghost notes on the snare.
Yeah.
uh, and just it's all wrists, it's all feel. It's just it's unbelievable. That's some of my favorite stuff to see. I've never been into. I don't think I've ever listened to a drum solo. They put me to sleep.
Mhm.
Um, it just sort of just doesn't impress me. Doesn't move me.
Yeah. I've never, uh, I don't think I could even put together a drum solo. I think the most that I would get to it is like if you're doing like a big kind of trash can ending, like where you're just kind of going a little haywire for like, 5 seconds tops,
Sure.
and then you
Even
stop.
that to me, Andre, honestly, I feel like I'm in my own head too much sometimes on stage. And I'm like, this feels like a big AC/DC ending that is unnecessary. I don't think can you imagine Radiohead doing a big trashy ending like that? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun and sometimes it just sort of comes out, but
Yeah.
not my thing.
So I have some crash questions for you. They're sort of questions that I ask every guest.
Okay. All right.
All right. So first one, and I kind of think I know the answer to this, but when you're in that groove, when you're in that zone, um, are you, and like I said, I think I know the answer. Are you a hats guy? Are you a ride guy or like a floor tom? Like what's sort of like your happy place when you're just kind of in the pocket?
I'm not going to limit myself to the hats. I mean, generally, I do like um, using hats, but I will. Another trick that I do quite a bit is at the end of maybe a chorus, I'll be riding on the crash cymbal. This is to further sort of enunciate what we were just talking about as far as moving from washy hats to a tight hat in an instant to change the feel of a section. All it's kind of an Alex Van Halen trick, washing very, very heavily on the crash cymbal or a crash ride or whatever, and then just bringing that right down to really, really quiet.
Sucks the air
Even
and yeah.
yeah, even for just like 10 seconds, just and just sort of bring it back. I love that stuff. And then the other members will sort of respond to that and they'll maybe bring it down too, hopefully, if they're listening. And we're kind of responding to each other in a live situation. But yeah, and I like to ride on the floor from time to time just to add a different sort of color in there too, maybe for a bridge or something like that. So
Yeah.
with four pieces, I've only ever used a four-piece drum kit. I like a lot of cymbals, and I'm not sort of obnoxious with the cymbals. I use what I've got. We talked earlier about your buddy from Danko who's got the kick snare hat and how it's easy to avoid bad habits. Um, I brought in more symbols very, very gradually to not sort of abuse them and make sure that everything has its place. But yeah, anyway, that the short answer is all those, but I'd say, for the most part, probably the hi-hat.
Yeah. To take a side road here on the symbols, are you, I mean, we were talking about like, which specific to like a backline kit with sizes and stuff. Like, how are you with symbol sizes? Like, are you a big symbol guy, a smaller symbol guy?
Uh, 16 crash is my main crash.
Okay.
Um, I also have started using because I for the most part, use my right hand to crash. I've got two crashes um, to my left,
Mhm.
and then I've got two to my right as well, and then the ride symbol. But 16, 17, I've got sort of a 25 years ago, I bought a what's called a leopard ride. Do you know that
Shout out to
type?
Pat Stewart. Yep.
Yeah, is that what he uses?
He,
Yeah.
he helped develop it. Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The things like it's like one big bell basically, and you can't wash on it sort of Bonham style and have it be a sound. It's more just like a very precise ping, but I love it, and takes away some of the work with having to just isolate the bell for a sound. But yeah, I guess relatively small. I'm not up there with 20-inch cymbals or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah. I've been doing 18 and 19, whereas used to be 220s. I've
Mm.
kind of come down on same thing with like the ride went from the 22 to the 21. But hi-hats, I've gone from 14s to 15s,
Does
and I
Sabian
don't.
make a 15?
Yeah, there's a couple of 15s. They actually have a 16 as well.
Speaking of Steve Jordan, I think he uses
17s.
probably, does he use 17s?
Yeah,
Oh
feisty
my,
17-inch. Yeah,
wow.
I know.
I mean, you got to hook me up with your Sabian buddies. Maybe
Oh,
they'll,
yeah, I will.
I've lost touch. I used to be, they used to endorse me as well, or whatever the term is. I endorse them, they endorse me. Um, it's different now because I'm not on Much Music every 10 minutes like it was in the 90s. But
It's different nowadays. Nobody is,
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's true.
right?
But so Sabian makes a 16-inch hi-hat.
They have a 16-inch AAX uh, accelerator.
Okay.
The hats that I use are the 15-inch groove hats,
Hmm.
and then they also have the complex series, which has a different hammered pattern on the bell than the rest of the cymbal. Um, yeah, they have a couple of different 15s. 15 hats are sort of like the industry standard now. So I think everybody kind of has to have them.
I've always wondered if does the clasp on the hi-hat, does it is it able to carry the weight of that top cymbal?
Yeah.
You know that feeling when you're in the middle and suddenly the
Hmm.
strainer comes off and you're like, shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, with
yeah.
a with a
I think that's to do with the cymbal weight and it's sort of like the lathing patterns. And so I don't think the extra inch diameter on the 15s is too much.
I just thought because it was heavier. Yeah, well, it depends on the cymbal.
Yeah,
Maybe I just need a better hi-hat stand.
might be
But
time for an upgrade. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah, but it's yeah, that's certainly Steve Jordan has kind of inspired me to think about something a little bigger,
yeah,
especially because I'm just an understated player. And if you're going to stick to just a few key drums and cymbals, you may as well have, the best of the best for sure.
yeah.
So
All right, back to the crash questions. We kind of went on a long sidebar
sorry,
here.
yeah,
Oh,
sorry,
that's
yeah.
good. Um, Favorite or oldest piece of gear that you can't go without?
Probably that snare that Ray
Yeah.
sold. The whole kit. I absolutely love this AR kit that I had custom made. It's a 12 by 10, 14 by 14
Oh,
floor tom, a little tiny little floor tom.
yeah.
It just like it's super loud, sounds great. And then a 20 by 18 kick,
Okay.
a little deeper. Everything about every size is unique. I That was sort of by design when I had the thing custom made, and I take it out of the cases and do a little tweaking, and it's good to go.
Yeah.
So that I love that drum kit. It's not my main kit. I've got a little. I'm in my basement studio slash office right now, and about 5 years ago, I bought one of those Questlove breakbeat kits.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of a little compact, little great. Like I think it's the same size as what I just mentioned,
Yeah.
but it's a Ludwig kit. Doesn't sound as good, but it's a great little practice kit.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the gear that I love, it's that AOD drum kit.
Yeah. Those are, I mean, I remember there was a time where AOT, like there was yourself, Matt Cameron was using them, Jeremy Taggart from OLP was using them. Like there's a few
Yeah,
big name drummers that were, on that brand for a little while in that early spin of the 90s.
huge, huge.
Yeah. With the
They
wood
had
rims.
Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like the wood rims.
Hmm.
They looked cool, but and I tried a kit like that. I tried, but it just doesn't suit my playing. I hit a rim shot every time on my snare, and I use a lot of rims on the toms too. Um, and yeah, the wood hoops didn't work for me.
No. Um, if you could time travel to any event or a live show, where would you go?
Oh, boy,
Something you want to experience in person
has to be a live event, like a
or
music
a
thing.
show. Doesn't have to be music, it could be anything.
If I could time travel to a show or an event. Um, well, I mean, I'll keep it music because I could certainly get into, family members that have passed away, but I don't want to take us there. Um, but God, I mean, just the library of musicians that I still listen to that have passed on. You kind of stumped me on that one. I mean, I would have loved to see, Iggy and the Stooges, circa, late 70s. Uh, Maybe some of those old punk rock bands that they were talking about, Black Flag with Henry Rollins would be fantastic. Um, David Bowie, circa Berlin Trilogy. I could go on and on. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot.
there's a lot. I've said this before. I'm probably not your ideal guest, Andre, because I'm not a chops drummer. I'm like I said, I'll say it in a different way. I'm not like a geeky um, uh, studio Jeff Porcaro type of drummer. But music is kind of my lifeblood, and a huge passion for me. It has been since I was a little kid, and that passion is never dimmed.
Yeah,
So it's not so much about drummers per se, but bands and genres. And I've read every music bio that ever was ever written. My wife teases me. She's like, because I go through them like I'm voracious. I'll go through like three of them a week. She's like, and she said to me the other day, I was reading this, actually wasn't very good. It was Evan Dando from the Lemonheads of
oh,
all.
yeah, yeah.
I saw it. It wasn't a good book, but that just to give you a sense of how deep I've gone, like that's pretty kind of like off the radar. And she's like, haven't you read enough of those? Like, isn't it the same story every time?
No, I
Isn't
mean,
it,
oh,
you
yeah.
know? Yeah,
I
there you
got
go.
Anthony Bourdain. I got Flea, Bad Religion, No Effects. Mark Hoppus from Blink 182. I got Dave Grohl. I got the Scar Tissue book from Anthony Kiedis that I just
Yeah,
loaned a friend of mine.
read them
Robert
all.
Plant's book. Like, there's just so many
Yeah,
great books from
great
musicians over the
stories.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, I love hearing about their sort of plight and some of the, inner workings of what they've
Yeah.
gone through, some of the challenges, the money, the personal relationships, and it's just it's kind of it's a guilty pleasure. Some of them are written so poorly. I
Yeah.
had to put one down the other day. It was written by the a former wife of Dee Dee Ramone.
Mm.
And it was like it was written by like a 8-year-old. It was just I can handle. I like good writing, but this one was just like I couldn't even. I think it was like some typos in this thing, a self-published book. Um, but anyway, yeah, I'm certainly very passionate about bands and music still to this day.
Yeah. Send me a list of recommendations on some of those books. I'd like to see
Sure,
if there's any I don't have. Um,
yeah, you
but
bet.
you're mentioned like your passion for music and all that. This next question kind of segues from that. Um, is there a band that if they were to call you right now and be like, our drummer just broke both of his legs and
The
we need you to sub?
fantasy,
Yeah, we
the
need you to sub right
fantasy.
now. Who could you sub for without a rehearsal?
I'll say I don't even have to think about it. It would be Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you know. I love Bunny Carlos. They have been playing with Rick Nielsen's son for about 10 years now. But I wouldn't be able to sit in with that many bands because of my limited skill set. But they would be one that I think I could probably pull it off. I'd also, excuse me, I'd love to. I don't know if you're familiar with Keith Richards. He's got three solo albums
Yep.
where Steve
Steve
Jordan's playing
Jordan.
on.
Yeah, played on
Yeah,
them.
I love those records, and when I'm kind of goofing off, I will. That's what I play to. Just those songs, Main Offender. Just doing the the rest on the right hand
Yeah.
during the snare hit, the thing that Levon Helm passed on to Jim Keltner, that Keltner passed on to Charlie, and then Charlie passed it on to Steve Jordan. So that's my favorite stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Keith Richards is playing the Greek Theater in Los Angeles, and Steve Jordan, his blister is just way too big on his finger, and he can't play, so he calls me up, and
Fills you
I've
up.
got to sit in. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I do want to say that I wouldn't say that what you have is a limited skill set, because so many drummers rely heavily on trying to put in transitions or drum fills or little licks that does take people away from the whole point of the song. And I
Mm,
think that's a testament to not only discipline but tastefulness. So I think you should give yourself more of a pat on the back for being so groove oriented, because I think it's sorely lacking, especially now with social media, because all you see is on Instagram and all that stuff, these people that are doing 15 seconds worth of chops. And it's impressive for those 15 seconds, but they've probably taken like hundreds of takes to get it just right when they could
yeah.
just focus on playing a solid groove.
Well, I appreciate that. Very,
Yeah.
I will. That's usually what I'll post if I'm just kind of noodling around. I'll just put like 10 seconds of me keeping time or something, because that's like I said, that's what kind of moves me. I mean, I am the most impatient person that you've ever met, self-proclaimed. And you need patience to play with that approach, and not where Phil Rudd. I mean, I think a lot of people, I forget who, I was reading about one of their drummers who just said he thought he could do it, but he just couldn't do it. He couldn't play with that understated, no fills, timekeeping thing for 2 hours a night for 300 days a year. He just couldn't do it. Um, so it requires a lot of patience. So there's one small area of my life where I have patience, and that's being a timekeeper who doesn't like to do fills. Go figure. Every other area, no patience, except for drumming.
And it's worked for you, right?
I
There
try.
you go. So the last crash question that I have, that was a tongue twister. Um, what song or drum part do you wish you had recorded?
Let's see. Anything by Charlie Watts. I mean, I don't know if you're a big fan, but I love his playing. So, I mean, Honky Tonk Woman intro,
Oh
I
yeah.
could go on all night. Um, love the fact that it's very well documented that that song it ends up about 3 or 4 beats a minute faster than when it started. So it's just a lesson in and that's it's one of the most played and adored songs of all time. It just goes to show you that that perfect metronomic grid formulaic thing that we hear on the radio all the time is it's not good. And that song in particular is kind of the opposite of that. And yeah, you don't have to hear any music. You could just listen to an isolated drum track of Honky Tonk Woman, and it feels incredible. And that's what I strive to do right there.
and and you know the song as soon as you hear it,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
instantly recognizable
yeah.
to non-musicians as well.
Well, I remember Robert Plant was talking about. I love John Bonham too. I mean, I guess he's probably the busiest drummer that I like, because he can get pretty busy, but he is so incredibly tasteful too. I mean, uh, I just saw Jason Bonham, his son, do a sort of a Led Zeppelin experience thing in a
Yeah.
nice theater in Toronto. And it wasn't the same. With all due respect to Jason, he had a great band with him. And hearing a band do physical graffiti was really exciting.
Yeah.
But he's not his dad. And
He's a
I'm
little
sure
flashier than John was.
Yeah, yeah. You're
Yeah,
familiar with his playing. Like he's
yeah,
just a little, he's a different style of play. Doesn't he plays like almost sort of on top of the beat where Bonzo is like way
yeah,
behind.
yeah. Laid it
So
back.
it's kind of noticeable. Like even from the first, they opened with Custard Pie from Physical Graffiti, which is like, that song is like way behind the beat. And the second he started, I'm like, oh, he's playing on top of the beat. It's like, this is cool.
Yeah,
Um, but anyway,
and he uses a
speaking of
double kick
Bonzo,
pedal, which also takes some of that feel out of it, I find.
does he really? I
Yeah,
didn't hear any of that. That would have
yeah,
pissed me off. I don't think maybe he did, maybe for some of those endings or something. That's cheating.
yeah,
You can't do that
yeah.
with Bonzo. Um, I forgot where I was going with John Bonham. Anyway, I lost it. Something to do with, oh yeah, sorry. This is what I was going to say. This is actually interesting because Robert Plant was talking about, and you've probably heard this quote, Andre, before. He was saying that uh, a drummer's hands are so much a part of their sound. It's not the kit, it's not the size of the cymbals, it's not the depth of the snare, it's not the tuning, it's not the, whatever. He said that I could tell it was John Bonham if he was playing with a pair of sticks on a flight case,
Yeah,
on a road case with his hands. I knew it was him. And
yeah.
I get that. I totally
Mhm.
get that. Um, because the good players will make that happen.
Yep,
It's if it's a piece of garbage $500 drum kit from Sears, somebody who knows what they're doing will make that thing sing.
yeah.
Not an easy thing to do.
No, and there's very few players that even today that have that touch. Like I think Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers is one of those guys that you can immediately hear that backbeat that he
Yeah,
lays into. Like there's just certain guys that it is in their hands completely.
yeah. Chad's I like Chad, but I find that he doesn't have a big library of grooves.
Mhm.
I find that it's kind of the same. But yeah, but as far as players right now who are kind of popular, he's definitely up there. He clearly understands and wants to emulate some of the guys that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Um,
He just put out a
yeah,
Drumeo course where he's teaching classic rock drummers. Like he specifically has a course for the John Bonham stuff, the Keith Moon stuff, Bill Ward, and Ian Pace from Deep Purple.
nice.
So he's doing
Love
like
that channel.
teaching those those licks and those songs and those approaches to the younger generation. So
Oh, that's very cool. I'll check that out.
yeah,
Is that guy Canadian, that Dremio guy? I don't
the
even, do you
Drumeo
know?
is Canadian. Yeah, they're based out of Vancouver. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Like, what's that guy's? We're getting off topic here, but so he's
Oh
a
no.
Canadian guy. That guy's
Um,
a,
Jared Falk is the guy that started it and is sort of the main guy, but
yeah.
the one that's sort of taken over being the face in the videos is Brandon Taves.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And
yes.
that whole Musora corporation, like they have there's Drumeo, then there's Pianio, I think it's called.
Okay.
So it's the same kind of channel, but for piano, and then they have one for vocals, and there's all these sub channels within it. But then the Musora channel, I don't know if you've seen it, where they have bands come in, um, and they give them a challenge to recompose a song in their style instead of the original style.
Oh, that's very
Um,
cool.
like um,
That's like the thing that Brandon does with You've Never Heard This Song,
yeah,
play along to it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So they
yeah.
did. They got can't remember his name, a jazz drummer to do Nirvana's Heart Shaped Box as a jazz song, and it's amazing.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
That
There's a few
sounds,
of them. Yeah,
I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I love that guy's channel. What were some of the ones recently that did you see he introduced himself to me the first time I saw him. I think he was doing the every Rush song in 20 minutes or something. Did you ever see that where this guy Brandon played every single Rush song, little snippets of each of them?
not that one. I seen him do the Foo Fighters one, but I didn't see the Rush
Yeah,
one.
every Rush song.
That's
And
insane.
Yeah, and these deep tracks. I knew like a quarter of them.
Yeah,
But he's that's a very cool little thing
yeah.
he's got going. And
There's a
then
video that where he helped John Stamos put together a drum solo for a Beach Boys show. So it's pretty funny. It's pretty good. Yeah,
And then,
John.
of course, what's his name too? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. This is not usually what happens. The guy who's got the YouTube channel, the music guy. He breaks apart like what makes this song great,
Oh,
best
Rick
intro.
Beato.
Rick Beato. Sorry,
Yeah,
yeah. He's talk about the goat. I mean,
yeah.
you can go on a pretty significant little rabbit hole with Rick
Oh, yeah,
Beato.
yeah. And everything he says is pretty much 100%.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's nothing that I've heard him say or talk about that I disagreed with.
You know
Yeah,
you've kind of made it when he takes one of your songs and breaks it apart.
yeah,
And
yeah,
he's great. He's a very talented guy. But yeah, it's just some pretty good content out there for sure.
yeah. Um, all right. So I don't want to take up your whole evening. I know it's 7:30 your time.
I've enjoyed this. I
So
probably should go get some dinner. But
yeah, you probably should. You put in probably a full day of making calls and making some deals. I was going to get into the
tried.
whole real estate thing and how that all came to be, but that we could save that for another time. Or there's other
Yeah,
podcasts that I'm
maybe for
sure that
another time. Yeah,
more for
it's
that.
not, I don't think your listeners really care about that stuff at the moment. But look, if they are looking to buy a house in Toronto, look me up for
Yeah.
sure. Well, listen, man, thank you so much. Clearly, you know what you're doing. And it's nice to talk to a fellow drum geek. I could tell you, you know your stuff. I'm going to
Try.
check out Six Gun Smoke too, for sure. I've got it written
Oh,
down.
thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of the second album. We're doing self-titled albums for all of our major releases
Okay.
instead of
They're all self-titled.
yeah. The first one is called Six Gun Smoke, and the second one is called Six Gun Smoke. So
Okay.
we're basically like number one, number two, kind of like the old Zeppelin, how they used to
Right. Right.
to do
Like
that. But
Billy Talent did that as well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the first
Okay.
album cover is just one bullhead on the side of a highway, and
Okay.
then the second album is two bulls that are colliding. So
Okay.
I think maybe the third album will have three bulls. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Well, by the time you can't, yeah. Okay. There's just so many times you could do a self-titled, but I'll leave that
Yeah, yeah,
decision with you for sure.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
tough one.
Yeah. I think
But
three is probably going to be it, and then we'll shift to something else. Yeah.
I'll check it out and stay in touch if there's any more information you need, whatever, let me know. But thanks again for doing this with me.
Oh, thank you so much for agreeing to do it. You know, I appreciate your time, and this has been a great chat.
Yeah, likewise.
Thanks, man.
Thanks again.
All
I'm
right.
gonna jump off. Thanks,
All right.
Andre.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, thanks so much, everybody, for joining me on this Canada Day episode of Quarter Notes and enjoying my guest, Sammy Kohn. He is in the Greater Toronto area and he works in real estate. So if you're looking to sell or buy a property, look him up. And as he said in the episode, the Watchmen seem to be working on some new material, so we can, fingers crossed, get some new stuff. All right, so just a bit of housekeeping here at the end. Because of the holiday and the summer vacations and all that stuff, and a lot of guys are going out on tour for a few shows, I'm going to be taking a bit of a break, not a long one, just probably a couple of weeks, just to enjoy the summer with my family. And I got a couple of band things to do, that old thing. So with that, happy Canada Day. We'll be back real soon. Take care of yourselves and each other. Till the next one. All right. Bye.